Okay, so you have to know something about the consequences or the effect, when you, through grace, through almost accident, fate, or karma, whatever you want to call it, when this arises in you, and it's arising in many, many, many people these days, this kind of breaking up of the breaking up of old patterns, the seeing somehow of the light, an awakening, if you like, or the beginnings of an awakening. But here's the point, for many people, not for everybody, but for many people, the beginnings of awakening, or the stirrings of the, of a waking up, have an effect on the energy system in the subtle energy body, the physical, biological, electrical, emotional, mental, psychic, psychological, existential energy body that we are, that we always were, and that we always will be. And, in some traditions, that would be referred to as the waking up of the Kundalini energy in the system that has, through conditioning, through emotional suppression, through cultural sort of suppression, if you like, through, the need to fit in, through all of these kind of things that happen to us in this rather oppressive world in many ways, certainly spiritually oppressive, and emotionally oppressive world, a conditioned state. This energy is held dormant, is down dormant in some way, shape or form. And it's as simple as talking really about, suppressed energy or repressed energies, repressed anger, repressed rage, repressed sexuality, repressed life force. All these things live deep in the energy body. They don't go away as we, as soon as you start really thinking about it or taking a look within yourself or within other people, you see this, writ large really. And so what happens is that the waking up of the organism to something more true than the than the game we've been fitting in with. That's powerful. That's a very powerful waking up and stirring of the energy body. Make no mistake, and it can be quite dramatic. And people have all sorts of symptomology to do with that waking up and stirring up and releasing of the energy within. And it can result in all sorts of things, from the rising up, of emotions, of old emotions, of past emotions, of past memories, of and physical symptoms in the sense of disorientation, of nausea, of extreme fatigue, or of a kind of a kind of shakiness, dizziness, all of this kind of stuff. There's no end to it, because it's sort of it's as much a physical experience as it is an energetic experience, because ultimately the physical and the energetic are similar in a sense. They're kind of interwoven, and so it's to be expected on the path. For many, not really necessarily for everyone. It depends on a whole number of different things, to do with your family ancestry, to do with your architecture, to do with your, star sign, if you like, to do with, what your predisposition is, to do with what lifestyle you've been living, to do with what emotions have been buried inside. And obviously for most people there have been a lot of emotions buried inside because of everything that happened. And so people, so many people have unconsciously, in a way, reverted or taken on a kind of way of being in the world that actually, is a double level. There's the facade, if you like, or the one who's acting in the game of life, almost just, wearing a cloak of a personality, that gets by and does this and has these experiences and has relationships and, in a way, can fit in. But that's on this level. But on the deeper level, there's all sorts of hell breaking loose, all sorts of stuff happening below the surface, that is more true in a way than what's happening on the surface level. And then at some point this, and I would say particularly these days, because everything is breaking up these days on so many levels, so many realities are breaking up. The matrix itself seems to be collapsing in some kind of way. There are many different things happening, and there are awakenings happening. The integration of the awakening is the difficult thing, in my opinion. And so this level of our experience in the world starts to shatter, starts to break up. And then it by and by, what's down here starts to reveal itself, because it's trying to almost get to the surface of us, because it wants to be integrated. The fragmented part of us is yearning for a kind of integration. That's why I say everything wants to come home in us. And there's your energy system right there. It's a powerful energy system that's trying to rise up. And as it rises up, so it shakes the very foundations of us. And so I don't know, I'm kind of, seeing it on my YouTube channel. I hear of it in our meetings that we do. There's a lot of energy that starts to get released. And all I can say in that respect is I said this, I think, on yesterday's video, go with it. To go with it, to allow it. Most of these energies, they feel like they're going to kill us, but they're not going to kill us. They're actually just, being purged, if you like, through the system, are being cleansed. We're cleansing. See it as a cleansing. And how long is this going to go on? I don't know. For me it was a very long time in so many ways. It brought something out of me. I mean, I started really in 1995, I would say, when I spent 2 years with this shaman in England, and that opened me up. And then the next kind of period of 5, 6, 10 years or something was just almost deconstructing. There was so much body work. There was so much cathartic release in me. There was so much rebirthing. There was so much processing of stuff. It was unending. And then I got sick. I got sick in 2002 with a major autoimmune. And I got sick, and it was a major processing. And still I went with it. What to do? What does it mean when we say, oh, well, we're not going to go with it? I mean, you go with it. Something's going to happen, because we're always moving into the future. But I think I gave myself to it. And it sort of just becomes a life journey. It becomes a life journey. Energy rises. Sometimes it's stable. And this is not now, but then sometimes it would be stable, and sometimes there would be, you know, tremendous either anxiety or heat or physical symptoms or deathly feelings, or, you know. And then I had to go back to do some more work. I did psychosynthesis, a kind of body part, you know, or personality parts. I did men's work to find something true about myself, you know, and so it required both a level of surrender and a level of discipline. Yeah, and discipline not in the mental sense, but discipline to actually be prepared to meet whatever comes, yeah, without fighting against everything. I mean, that's what you've done. That's what most of us have done all our lives, secretly or unconsciously, is actually fight against everything, fighting against ourselves, fighting against the family, fighting against our feelings, fighting against society, fighting against this and fighting for this. It's the same thing. Fight, you know, fight. It's like, man, that's, you know, many are being called to a deeper spiritual path now. Much deeper spiritual path. But it involves a certain amount of defragmenting the inner computer system. That's the detox that I was talking about, and it is tough. It is tough. We, you know, have to take care of ourselves. There's a great need to take care of oneself, and to be gentle and to be kind, but also to be, you know, in our authority, in a deeper authority. Say yes. This energy is okay. This energy is rising up. I've had my Kundalini experiences. I've had wild Kundalini experiences. And I don't, you know, they're names in many ways for me. They're names. And they, you know, to not give them too many stories, but to trust deeper that whatever energy is rising up in you, it's okay. It's actually a calling to trust deeper. And that calling to trust deeper starts to allow it to move through. Because most of these energies are trying to move through us. And because we've lived in such contraction, it's very difficult for that to happen, because we clamp around ourselves. And so, you know, this is the call, and it is like it's sort of death, I guess, isn't it, really? The call is to stop clamping around experience, whatever that experience is, and somehow start to unwind it, unwind yourself, unwind, and let it flow, really. And this energy comes up to let it flow. And, you know, I know that's easier said than done in a way when it's very intense, you know, but I have to say from where I see it now in my own life and my own experience, you know, this is a beautiful but ruthless way of living in the world. It's raw. But in order for it to be raw and true and real, you know, that the false and the phony and the veiled and the mask, they all have to drop to the floor for the reality of us to emerge, or to be revealed anyway. And that for a while can feel, you know, very vulnerable and very tender and very scary in a way. And I can just say, take heart, go with it.